What is up, everybody? CP and SJ with you for another week of Every Day We're covering here with our picks. We're on to the semifinal round of the College Football Playoff. So we're going to take a look at both of these games this week and give you our best bets. So what we think might happen here in the contest, and of course, kind of analyze the games here a little bit as we do that as well. SJ, obviously, we're excited. These should be a couple of good football games. We hope. We never any guarantees, but it's still going to be fun to watch them regardless.
Yeah, getting down to the nitty gritty, which I guess that's kind of what you're always got your eye on there in the long term. But we're not too excited to see the season go, but we still got a couple more weeks at least of games, or a couple more days at least of games. Of course, that damn NFL is screwing things up again, and we got a Thursday, Friday night slates rather than both being on Saturday, which I think not only would it be ideal for viewing, but just then you're kind of at the same, you got the same kind of layoff between games, but we'll deal with it as it comes, and we'll enjoy these couple of games here coming up this later in the week.
Yeah, the one bonus to that I will say is, if you're just a football fan in general, which of course most of us are, this is going to be
Oh
one
hell,
hell of a little stretch run
yeah,
here.
oh yeah, you can either make you some money or the opposite, but we're gonna try to make it. So, but yeah, it could be even just watching wise, you're gonna have a fun
Yeah.
filled weekend here. Just a lot of people are having bad weather, even in places that don't normally get that type of weather. As you look towards the south, so you might as well just get whatever type of snacks you like and a couple of drinks and just sit home and enjoy the games.
Yeah, stock up that beer fridge and hunker
Yeah.
down. Yeah, we got semifinal games Thursday, Friday, two wild card games in the NFL on Saturday. There'll be three games on Sunday and then one on Monday as well. So it's a hell of a 5 day run for you to enjoy some football. Let's get into these CFP games, though. We're going to start off with the first one that will be coming up here on Thursday night, as it'll be Notre Dame and Penn State duking it out at the Orange Bowl. 6:30 kickoff there on ESPN on Thursday night. I'm showing in my book right now 1.5 being the line, Notre Dame the favorite, and that total at 44.5. SJ, I'll let you start us off with this one.
I mean, when it gets this close, you expect it to be, obviously tough to pick, and it's like, oh man, I could see it going this way, that way. I think even more so, this matchup especially is that because of what we said earlier in the week. These teams are almost, I mean, identical, just the way they play, not necessarily how they get there, but just the style. It's not a a fun and gun or explosive or they get big plays, but it's not a type of thing where you're like, oh, look, give them the ball with 2 minutes left and watch out. I mean, maybe they'll score, but you don't know that. It's more of a let's get a turnover, let's block a kick, let's get a pick six. That's kind of their explosiveness where it comes from. So that's kind of where you gotta look at first and see who's gonna, you never can predict who's gonna make the big plays, but obviously whoever is going to do that should have an edge in this game. As far as strength of schedule goes, you'd think Penn State probably plays in whatever best, if not second best. However, we don't want to get in the conference debate today. We only have a little bit of time, but either way, they're you would think over the long run they're more tested as far as like the top tier teams. Because I mean Notre Dame had a decent run against top 25 opponents, but no disrespect, but Army and Navy, that was a couple of their top 25 wins. So you got to factor that in as well. I know I kind of mentioned Notre Dame doesn't have like a great offense, but they did average like about 40 points a game during the regular season. However, that is down to like 25 points in the playoff per game. So shows you kind of just what the when it comes to playing like or better competition, the offense kind of slows a little bit. Like I said, it'll be the big play deal. If they can get Love going, which that will be something to watch there. His injury, how much it affects him, and how if he's I mean, you think he's going to play, right? I mean, there's no way he's going to give it a go at least, but that would be key. And then also, the big plays like they had, a kick return against Georgia after that fumble that turned into a late touchdown. I guess just to get to the point here, kind of just trying to lay everything out here. Just that's how it's so hard to pick. I'm looking all these factors, all these is there an edge anywhere? And I said it before, and that's kind of the most thing that stuck out to me, even going through the season, the games, even the playoff, just between these two teams. That Penn State just has, to me, the more probability of getting those explosive plays, having like a Warren, having Aller at quarterback. They're more of a tested bunch as far as like week in and week out. They're more consistently like explosive, even if they're maybe not a traditional, like I said, 10 play 80-yard drive team. they have more options to go to those big plays where Notre Dame might not quite have as many. So I'm actually gonna take Penn State straight up. I was able to get some plus money there earlier in the week. It was a plus 110 when I played it there, just on the straight money line. So I went ahead and took that. But I mean, look how long I talked. I'm not very super confident, but I just think there maybe have a little bit more of an edge there, and it's very slight. I mean, right now Penn State's looking at even on the money line, so it's come down the odds right there. So that shows you how close this game is. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is one really hard to pick and kind of decipher, who has the edge here in this game because, like you said, they both play the same way. I if I was to make, I'm not going to make. I don't think I'm going to make this my play, but if I were to go with the team, I would go the other way and take Notre Dame in this game just because I feel like they have the right type of mojo going right now. They've got a little bit of excitement around that program that hasn't been there for a while. And I think they're going to be the more motivated team, I guess, in this point. And it also does, it does kind of give me a little bit of worrisome on the Penn State side because of what we've talked about when the big game has come. Have they lived up to that expectation? And they haven't traditionally with Franklin. So I don't know. I do think it's going to come down to the wire, and it's going to be a heck of a split in hairs to see who wins this. But what we talked about the other day is, I think, where I'm going to go with this as far as the total goes. I'm going to go with the unders. I know it's not a big number to get to, but I just think that the defenses are going to win the day here, and it's going to be a little bit of a slog for a while for these teams to try to figure it out. And you mentioned the injuries that are to some key players on the offensive side that might slow this thing a little bit too. These defenses are both really good, and I would expect them to hold things down. So even though it's only 44.5, which doesn't seem like a lot to get to, I'm going to go under, and that's going to be my play on this one.
That is, I mean, really the one thing that I am most why I was had to do all the digging and try to find something to make me feel confident is because of Franklin's history in these big games. So I mean, you pointed out that's essentially my biggest concern there with this game. But I mean, let's hope it's within a score game late here and we get a pretty entertaining matchup here on Thursday night.
Yeah. And I think if I decide to do something a little bit squirrely on the side, I would probably pair those things together. However you feel about it, whether you like one team or the other, and then take the under with it. And that might give you a little bit extra. I was getting plus 264 when I was just testing it out here a little bit ago. So that might be a way to get you a little extra scratch too. Next game that's on the slate on Friday night, then we will move over to Jerry World, the Cotton Bowl, where you would think it's going to be a pro-Texas crowd. Obviously, Ohio State fans aren't afraid to travel either, so there'll be plenty of them there. But 6:30 kickoff there on Friday night. And right now, Ohio State sitting as a 5.5-point favorite. I've got the total sitting at 53.5. And I just think this obviously we've kind of alluded to this already on the podcast, just the way that Ohio State is playing right now. I just do not see them losing this game. Now, of course, you could go ahead and make an argument for me about how much that number or that line is. But I still feel confident enough that Ohio State's got the explosive playmakers. They're going to make a couple of plays. And I think it's going to be the difference of later in the game that's going to make that difference because we saw it a little bit I think, for Texas in that game against Arizona State. Yeah, they're a big team, but they do wear a little bit. So I think that's where Ohio State's going to get the advantage. You've got two guys in the backfield that are close to 1,000 yards on the season. You've got terrific receivers that are going to win a few of these battles. So I'm going to go Ohio State laying that 5.5. I think they win by a touchdown. So I'm gonna go that way. And then as a little bonus side to this as well, I won't pair this along with it, I don't think, but I'll do another one on the side. I would go for that second half total if you can get a little look at that in your book. Right now, I was showing it 28.5 as the number for the second half total, and that's where I think Ohio State's going to make their hay. So I would go with that over 28.5. I was getting plus 120 on that, so something a little fun to sprinkle on as a side bet is there as well. What are you thinking here?
I mean, there's no way I would think Ohio State isn't going to win this game just looking at what they've done so far and just how they've been playing the last couple of weeks here. And, early when we did the pod earlier in the week and just trying to be like, okay, I'm trying to, separate yourself from the moment, not like buy in too much of it was just one game, but they've done it for more than one game, and even of course Smith's kind of wreaked havoc there, and but I mean Howard's been over 300 yards passing both games, and I mean and they haven't all gone to Smith, so
No.
he's spread the ball around a little bit and kind of done what was probably thought he could do coming in, and what maybe why they were so heavily touted coming into the season this is what they thought Ohio State was going to look like this year, and they're finally got to that part. And I mean they haven't rushed like into at an incredible rate, ran the ball with those two running backs, but at the same time they haven't had to. It's just they're scoring like we said it was an Xbox game. Just passes a drag route over the middle, and Smith takes it for 40 yards of play. First down, first down, first down. So that's kind of thing. I don't think they can't run the ball because when sometimes stats can be misleading. It's like they haven't really gone over 200 yards in either game rushing, but they, like I said, they haven't needed to. They've won comfortably. But I don't think that they can't do it. That's my point. Is like I think if somehow Texas maybe does slow the pass game, they still got a hell of a rushing attack there and a great offensive line, and even on the defensive side, I think they'll control the line of scrimmage. And I wanted to, like I said, it was the spread thing was what kind of was like maybe I need to chill because I'm so confident in Ohio State. I would have felt like if I'd have made a play right after the game, I might bump it up to 10 or something and get some plus money. But I'll play it easy here. Two options here. I'm going to do a same game parlay one way or the other, and I guess just to give a little variety. I'm pretty confident. So what I'll make probably my official play is I'll take that 5.5 plus the overs, which was 53.5 when I played it. I don't know if it's still sitting there. I think it is, and that'll give you plus 256 on that bet. At least the book I did when I made the play. So you're getting pretty good value there if you're high on Ohio State. Now maybe if you're not as confident in that 6 or 5.5 points winning by 6. Then you could take them straight up with that over another parlay there on the same game, and you're still getting plus 174. So good return there, even if you're pretty confident they're going to win, but don't think it'd be closer than the experts think, as one pundit used to say. We'll go ahead and you can play that one too, and you're still looking pretty good there. I just can't imagine. Can happen, it's college football, sports in general, but it's really hard to pick against Ohio State in any form unless you want to maybe do some prop like something you mentioned. Maybe maybe Smith's held under 200 yards or something like that. I don't know. Like there's not much that you can really think that you got to go off what you've seen and what they've done lately, and there's nothing to see of anything really negative that they've done, honestly, in any facet of the game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said in the pod this week, I've doubted a couple of times whether Will Howard could play well enough to win those games, and he's just been on fire. And I don't, what would tell you that that's going to change in a week? So I think he will probably at least have a good enough game to beat this Texas team. So,
and even the people that are high on Texas, what would give me concern is both games they've almost blown the lead. I mean, they had what was it, a 16-point lead in the fourth quarter against Arizona State, and then against Clemson they were up late and almost blew that one. So that doesn't, if against a team like Ohio State, if you let them get back into it, they can manufacture a lot more points than those other two teams we mentioned if you happen to get a lead. So I don't think those type of that type of play with the front running, if you will, to get a big lead and try to hold on, that would not be a recipe for success. I mean, I know they know that, but just looking at what's happened, that may be a little bit of a greater concern against an Ohio State.
Yeah, we've talked about not being reactionary after a quarter of play, and this game I think is going to be more so than ever. That Ohio State has the potential to score in buckets, in a heartbeat. So they're not going to be out of this thing, even if it does go a little bit south early on. So be interesting. Like we said, we hope these are fun games. We hope this is good stuff, and this is what we've waited for here with college football for a long time. So we're anxious to see this play out and have some fun on the field, and ultimately decided by the games, which is what we want at the end of the day. As we mentioned, it will be a very busy weekend, so we probably will be making some other plays later on in the week after those semifinal games, as we're watching some NFL this weekend with wildcard weekend. So make sure you're locked into us on the social media account there on Twitter. You see the handles there at SGM Bets, at Cherokee CP. Just watch those accounts. We'll be posting some other picks for you throughout the weekend as well, things that we see come up and we like here with those NFL games. So we'll put some stuff out there for you on those sites. If you have something that you like, of course, let us know. We'd appreciate if you interact with us there as well. And maybe there's a pick you love in a certain game. Hit us up. We'll be sure to interact with you and share that information as well. And then, of course, we would love it if you would like, subscribe, get the notifications here on this YouTube channel, so you're always seeing these picks week in, week out throughout the year. And then also, of course, share the podcast, available in all the major podcast platforms, including our host at Spotify, but you can find it right here on YouTube as well. So lots of options for you. Some good football. Like we said, SJ, get that recliner, get that easy chair ready, and hunker in.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can't really ask for much more than what we're getting this weekend, and hopefully got all your shoveling done. I know it was a bit of a chore around these parts, but yeah, get that done now. You got about another day or so left, and then relax and enjoy the football. It should be pretty exciting there. And I mean, I know we're kind of, we talked about the campus thing, but it will be good to have, like, kind of that bigger stadium here for these bigger matchups, and get you really the whole full the full atmosphere there, and hopefully we're able to get a decent amount of fans there, because that will be tricky. We touched on that earlier in the week, just all that travel and the expenses. But I think when push comes to shove, especially if your team makes it, who knows when you're gonna make it again. You gotta you gotta break out that spare credit card or what have you, and get on out there, and you never, it might be a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, no doubt. Should be some good stuff. That's SJ Munoz. I'm Chris Parks. Thanks for joining us for some more picks another week here on Every Day We're Covering. We'll see you next time for some more covers.